Metropolitan Fire District. Board of Directors regular meeting. And let's see, would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, we have? Oh, thank you. I neglected. Please, let's sit back down, and we will welcome the Girl Scouts to proceed with our presentation of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And yes. No, thank you very much. What we'd like is after our presentation of the flag, we'd very much like to know your names and your troops and to say thank you to each of you.
I'm Linda. I'm a Juliet.
I'm Melissa in 2615.
And grown-ups are included.
My name's Nakia Bell, and I'm a program specialist for Girl Scouts Heart of Central California. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Thank you. All right. That's great. We have the Scouts here. All right, we have our Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Saturday, April 14th at 1 p.m. and Monday, April 16th at 10 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. A DVD copy is also available for checkout from any library branch. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.sacmetrofire.ca.gov. Now we move to the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. I have one speaker form from Mr. Robert Mitchell. Please welcome and come to the podium.
My name is Roger Mitchell, a longtime resident of the district. Again, board and chief, staff, members of the department, it's a pleasure to come before you this evening. I come as an advertisement this evening. I think in your board package, you saw an advertisement for our fundraising dinner, and we asked that be put in there so you could see how another organization was advertising that event. And that advertisement was in the newsletter for the Northern California Regional Group of the Horseless Carriage Club of America, which I'm a proud member of, and they're sponsoring this restoration too. So we would hope that you could find it in your hearts to come to this dinner on April 28th. It's a all-you-can-eat turkey dinner. Our guest speaker will be Roberta McGlashan, our new supervisor in our area. Through reapportionment, she became our new supervisor, so she's agreed to come and be our speaker. And I carry some words from her chief of staff tonight. It's a pleasure of mine to carry those words. Ted said, tell the chief, the staff, and the board she is very much looking forward to seeing all of you at this dinner. But I would also tell you, in all seriousness, not that that wasn't serious, she did say that in the reception we had for Roberta at the old fire station in Rio Lindo, Chief Hinkie was there and said some words. And she was impressed not only with Chief Hinkie's presentation, but the content, because if I can certainly not quote her, but tell you the generalities, she says, I see here a fire district, a park district, a group of volunteers all working together to keep a public building and public ownership for the good of the fire service in general. And you know, as one of those volunteers, when you hear things like that from somebody that can be very influential to your project, it makes you feel good. So again, you're all invited, your wives, your children, your aunts, your uncles, your neighbors. Bring all you can bring. I would ask a little help from Charlotte in that maybe when you make your decision to come, 3 or 4 days before that, if you could give Charlotte a call and tell her how many of you are coming, it would be well appreciated, so we make sure we have enough food. I'm sure we will, but that gives us a little guide. And I would certainly be willing to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Director Monk?
Good evening, Roger.
How are you, Director?
Hey, looking at the paperwork that you gave us, the Brass Nuts, April 2012 edition, there's an ad in here that talks about the fundraising dinner. It says, let's help keep the dream alive of our late members and firefighters, Dick Mitchell and Les Crane, and help restore Rio Linda Fire Engine 2. Well, I remember Les Crane from my young years. Dick Mitchell, is that any?
I'm proud to tell you he was my father. Let me tell you what the reason they have embraced this. Both of those gentlemen were members of the Horseless Carriage Club. Chief Crane was a body and fender man by trade, pretty much well known for custom cars, antique cars in the western half of the United States. My dad became a volunteer when I was 8 years old. I became a volunteer when I was 16 years old. And one day, Les came by the house. At that time, he was the assistant chief. He says, Dick, get your kid. He says, I'm going to show you something. So we drove 12 miles up the road to Pleasant Grove, and I thought it was 100 miles, but it took us in this big old barn at this family estate. And there sat Rio Linda number 2. The family had bought it years before. On the way home, I don't remember the exact quote, but I'm close. Les driving, he said, Dick, my dad, of course the kid, me, stuck in the middle, sitting on top of a stack of turnouts, said, someday we got to get Rio Linda number 2 back and restore her and put her next to rightful place to Old Betsy, Rio Linda's first fire truck, which this board and this district are proud owners of. That one sentence between those two men is what's driving this restoration and the work on the firehouse. So thank you for the question. I appreciate the opportunity to share that with you. So any other questions? Looking forward to seeing all of you at the dinner. And again, I was pleasured to bring the words from Supervisor McGlashan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roger. Appreciate all your participation.
President Jones, if I may, I will be, to Roger, I will be unable to attend that event due to medical procedure, but our staff, I will have staff there for that dinner, and please let the people know in Rio Linda, I always go to those dinners. This will probably be the first one I missed, and I would be there if I could, but I can't, and but our staff will be there.
Thank you, Chief. All right, moving on to consent agenda. Chair will entertain a motion.
Second.
Who wants a second? All right, Director. First by Director Clark and second by Director Monk. Please call the roll.
Director Monk.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Newcomer.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson absent. Motion passes.
Moving on to action items. Item number 1, we have a resolution, consolidation of the district election for the Board of Directors with County Sacramento statewide general election, November 6, 2012. Madam Clerk?
You have a staff report on page 17 of your agenda, and that is accompanied by a resolution required by the Elections Code Section 10403 to consolidate the District Board of Directors election with the County of Sacramento statewide election on November 6th. The resolution establishes the election process as follows. Number 1, consolidation of the district election with the statewide election for Sacramento County. 2, candidate prepays the cost of publication to the district office of a campaign statement limited to 200 words. 3, The district reimburses the county registrar of voters for the actual cost of the election. And 4, in the event of a tie in the district election, the governing board determines the winner by lot. There are 5 divisions up for election for a 4-year term. Division 2, Director Gould. Division 4, Director Newcomer. Division 5, Director Scheidegger. Division 6, Director Clark. Division 8, Director Jones. There is an approximate fiscal impact of $121,000 or less for the election. I recommend adoption of the resolution consolidating the District Board of Directors election with the Sacramento County statewide general election on November 6, 2012.
All right.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Newcomer,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Now we'll move to item number 2, a resolution, First Amendment to contract with Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District to extend existing lease for air monitoring equipment on Station 58 property. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Davis to the podium.
Directors, Chief Inky, Larry Davis, Chief Development Officer. The item in front of you is a extension of an existing contract for air monitoring sampling equipment that's out at Station 58. We historically have not charged them for placing their equipment there, but they do pay all the costs, the electrical and the utilities to operate there. So this was originally back in 2002, and this is the next 5-year extension of that agreement.
Are there any questions for Mr. Davis?
Mr. Davis, thank you very much for your presentation. I have a quick question. Is it standard in this county that this particular organization is able to place these monitoring devices without a fee?
I haven't checked with the other agencies, but
I think it'd be interesting to find out if Sac Metro Fire is providing an opportunity here that's not in line with what other agencies are potentially participating in, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but if they're paying some other agency a sizable amount of money to have their monitoring stations there, it seems reasonable that they would then go ahead and maybe do the same for us. So
yeah, I can check and report back, but it's very simple equipment. It's,
yeah,
if
they're giving somebody $1 million,
I doubt that.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know.
I guess it could be. Yeah.
Why not?
But, yeah.
Delman can spend it. Anyway, I looked through the contract and there's obviously no dollar amount attached there, and so I was thinking, so they're using our facilities and they're using our ground and land to monitor this, and we're giving it to them for free, and I understand that, but I'd like to know if that's common in the area.
I'll have to check and get back.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Director Kelly, did you have
I think my question was answered. I was merely going to ask if he knew the approximate size or configuration of the equipment. Is it a stake in the ground?
It's a small trailer,
Okay.
some weather equipment, and like a sniffer kind of thing that takes air samples and report and telemetry to send it back.
Thank you.
So
I got one of
about
those.
6 by 8 square. There's actually a little map in the back, but
yeah, I saw that.
it's not very big. Matter of fact, I went out and checked it out and looked at it, and I had a hard time figuring out where it was. And it's out in the field all by itself. So it's it was just next to a telephone pole with a meter on it.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Davis, could you tell us, is there a time sensitivity to approve this resolution?
Well, it expires June 30th.
I forgot what it was. June 30th.
So, and they're trying to wrap it up. I'm sure there's.
Mm-hmm.
So it expires June 30th, and we'd like to.
Right. Well, my point, I do believe Director Gould has a valid question, and if there's not a timeline,
well,
sir.
Madam Chair, I'm fine with moving forward on this. I just would like that information. I'm fine with them owing us something in the future. Okay. It's always good to have sniffers owe you something.
This is a 5-year contract now.
It's fine.
That's $5 million potentially.
Oh, that's true. That's a good
Wow.
point.
I second that.
Chair brings up a good point.
No,
I'm fine to move it forward.
I'm ready to go with the consensus of the board and the consensus of staff recommendation.
I'd like to point out that it's probably beneficial for us to know what may be in the air out there. So it's probably a good thing that they want to put the trailer out there.
Well, we're the canary. All right.
I'll make a motion, we adopt.
I'll second.
All right. All right. We figured it out for the second? All right. It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Is the second Director Scheidecker?
There you go.
Clark? Thank you. Roll call.
Paper. Okay.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Rosali,
Aye.
Newcomer,
Aye.
Scheidecker,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson, absent, motion passes.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving to our third and final action item for the evening is the CSDA Board of Directors call for nominations, Region 2, Seat A. At our previous meeting, we had postponed this. We had tabled it until tonight, and I did have the opportunity to discuss directly with Director Pearson, and he is still interested. And based on, and with a reminder, this is a nomination. He still has to stand for election amongst a group of, well, for the all of Area 2. There are the review, we have cemetery districts, some CSDs, sanitary districts, water districts. So it might be a pretty nice balance to have another, to have a fire district also represented in addition to, I guess this Tuxedo Country Club Fire Protection District, I assume, is what FPD stands for. Anyway, I would like to nominate Director Pearson.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Would you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Rosali,
Aye.
Newcomer,
Aye.
Scheidecker,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson absent, motion passes.
All right, so the deadline for those nominations, May 25th. So on May 26th, we should know who will be running to represent us. And we can take appropriate action and or support. All right, now that I've lost my place, here we go. Next item, we have no presentation items listed. We have a President's Report. I have 3 items tonight. One is to say that along with Chief Hankey and staff participated in the Rancho Cordova 2x2. As always, it's a very fruitful meeting, lots of information exchange, and we continue with an excellent relationship with the city of Rancho Cordova. And I appreciate all their elected officials and their staff efforts for the continuing communication that we have. Let's see, I also would like to remind everyone, May 10th, in the day, I believe it's from 9 to 1, Madam Clerk, 8 to 1?
The hours are 8 to 1.
Oh my gosh, set the alarm clock. All righty, 8 to 1. We do have a board workshop set for that time, and we have therefore canceled the Finance Committee meeting and the regularly scheduled board meeting for that evening because we will, the clerk of the board has us working long hours throughout the day on that one. So please reaffirm with the clerk, sir.
Long hours, is it 8 to 1 or is it?
That's long hours for somebody who's retired.
Okay.
Be sure and punch your time card, Director Kelly.
Well, no, I mean, I got a dental appointment at 3 p.m. I'm trying to figure out, should I try and get rid of the dental appointment?
I don't think so.
Okay, great.
Okay. Sorry, that was said a bit in jest, so please
right.
don't take it. It's 8 to 1 is the scheduled time.
And
We're
the-
paying a facilitator to work it, so I'm sure we'll be on time.
And the evening meeting's been canceled.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. So it has been canceled. All right, now, the most important item, the third and final item, is, I have happy birthday wishes for Chief Hankey as well as Director Orzali. They've both turned 39, so congratulations to both of you gentlemen.
Are there multipliers in that?
I'm not allowed to say that's a...
A little exponential.
It's just that Chief Hinkey's is a younger 39 than mine.
Anyway, congratulations to both of you gentlemen. All right, moving on now for Fire Chief's report.
President Jones, Board of Directors, since our last meeting, it's been a pretty busy schedule. On the 23rd of March, we had the Sac Metro Firefighters Association retirement dinner. I believe we had around 40 individuals. I think that was about the number that retired. It was well attended. The place was absolutely packed, and I think a good time was had by all. And it was a pleasure to be there and see the men and women that have put a lot of years of service in move on their way. Of course, Deputy Chief Rice retired, but not really. So as he went out the door with his retirement, he came right back in another position for labor. So I had to kind of laugh at that. On the 24th, the next day evening, I attended the Arden Arcade Rotary Horsepower second year of the Charity Poker Tournament, which benefits Community Works and children's charities, supported by the Arden Arcade Rotary. This year's co-benefactor is the Sheriff's Community Impact Program centered in the Arden Arcade area. Battalion Chief Turner has been our representative in this area working with these people. And so they had the elected Sheriff Scott Jones, Supervisor Susan Peters, a number of executives and myself were the hit pieces. So you played poker and then whoever forced you out of the tournament got a prize from us. It was a 4-hour tour and tiller training on the back of one of our rigs. I'd like it noted for the record that I wasn't the first one out, but I was second. I eventually had to tell Cherie that she had to start losing because she had almost all the chips on the table, and we hadn't gotten there early enough to have dinner, so I wanted to go out and eat. So begrudgingly, she was graceful in sharing her chips with others. But it was a great event, great benefit, great working with our law enforcement partners in the Sheriff's Department, the Arden Arcade Rotary. On the 27th, I attended the Every 15 Minutes program at El Camino High School. I'd like to thank all the staff that was involved, Bob Weber, everybody putting it together. It's a touching program. It's got a great impact on kids about drunk driving, and no pun intended, it gives them a sober representation of what's going to happen from the fact of losing somebody that's your friend to the fact of sitting in a police car and going to jail and perhaps prison. It covers the full gambit of that. So it was excellent. I want to thank all our staff for that. The next day I attended the Rancho Cordova 2x2 with Director Jones at Rancho City Hall, and again I echo her sentiments. On the 30th, I flew to Ontario for a policy meeting for the California League of Cities. High on their list is the issue of redevelopment. I'm supposed to be meeting with their head lobbyist in regards to that issue. They would like to, of course, reinvigorate redevelopment or something along those lines. You know, I think that as a district we benefit in one aspect of redevelopment going away, but it's a short-sighted one because we also benefited from construction dollars for Rancho Cordova, Citrus Heights, in the construction industry, and clearly for us for fire stations and infrastructure that could be paid. So, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to see what they have in mind. You've heard a lot of different things kicked around at the legislature. They got a bunch of bills that they're looking at, but there's got to be some sort of, I believe, compromise there because we do benefit from that. As well, on the 31st, I attended, the weekends were pretty packed, the 4th annual Guns N' Hoses basketball game. I'm happy to say after a crushing victory in the football game, we were victorious in the basketball game, and the cops fouled so much that they had to keep resetting the foul thing on the counter at the high school. I don't think it had ever gone to double digits like 3 times in a game, and we were way outnumbered. I think we had 9 people. They had like 15. They never got closer, I think, than like 8 or 10 points or whatever. We just absolutely smoked them. And so that was a lot of fun. And then they had a horse tournament. The city neglected to send their fire chief, but their police chief showed up. And the elected sheriff was there and myself. I'd like it noted for the record that Chief Brazil went out first. And I went out second. And Chris Vestal stepped in, our Chris Vestal from our agency, to play for City Fire, and he was unable to beat Sheriff Jones, who took it all. So congratulations to Sheriff Jones, great guy. It was a good deal. I encourage us to try to support that more in the future. It was a lot of fun. They had a lot of stuff for kids right before the game for a couple hours and barbecue, and I think they've got to work on their advertising and stuff like that, but it'll get better as it goes on. We had the fire week of April 2nd through last Friday. We had the annual California Fire Mechanics Academy and Equipment Showcase and Banquet. Fred Bino, Shay Purcell, all our mechanics did a phenomenal job, and logistics people in supporting that out at McClellan. They have fire mechanics from all over the United States, and I think Hawaii and Alaska and other places that come for training and education. I believe they had, I want to say, just short of 200 or 300 students out there. And State Fire Marshal was there and spoke. It was well attended by myself and my staff for the banquet. And quite frankly, I think most of the students and the mechanics were just hoping that the windbags would shut up so they could get to the raffle and let them go. But they did a great job, and that fire mechanics thing is a big positive for Metro Fire. It's well respected throughout the country, and Fred and Shay and all the guys out at Fleet just did a terrific job. On the 9th, sadly enough, attended the funeral services for Ed Bent. He started his career at the LA City Fire and was one of the early State Fire Marshal's office training people. They actually, he's the man behind what's called the, quote, Ed Bent Award for Excellence in Fire Training. Myself and my staff attended the funeral, and there was Fire Marshal was there, as well as representatives from CAL FIRE and former State Fire Marshals. So Metro was very well represented as one of the local agencies there. The following day, I flew to Ontario to meet with the Southern California Fire Chiefs at a request of San Bernardino County in regards to 201 right issues. We seem to be having some differences of opinions with some of the leadership, and we want to make sure that we protect the 201 rights and ambulance transport rights. So basically, I was down there to assure them that us in the north are in agreement with them in the south, and that we need to change some direction, and we'll be working on that. On the 11th, we had the appreciation luncheon for Stan Van Vleck and his family out at Rancho Murrieta, which directors Orzali and Kelly attended. Stan and his family donated land for a radio tower in Rancho Murrieta, Sioux House area. And it's a pretty touching story that they did this because Captains Greg Pryor really had a lot to do with this from our organization. Mr. Van Vleck had been trying to build a house. He told the story for 3 years, and the county wasn't cooperating, and all of a sudden somebody from the county called and said, hey, we need you to give us an easement and donate some land for a radio tower. And he said, well, you won't give me approval to build my house on my own land. And they said, yeah, we can't help you with that. I think that's how the story went. And he was like perplexed, but they wanted this radio tower, and he was like, no. And then Greg Pryor from our organization called him and said, listen, this is for fire and for law enforcement. We'd had some bad incidents out there where we had no radio communication in that area. The sheriff's department had a tragic issue with an officer, a sheriff's deputy that was shot and killed. Very poor communication to get out there. And Stan Van Vleck and his family stepped up to the plate and donated that land. Even though they'd had some very, very tough times with the building and planning department, he's happy to say after 5 years they finally authorized it and his house should be finished here in the next couple months. My only editorial comment is they wonder why businesses are moving out of California. That might be a reason. But at the end of the day, he donated his land, and he is a huge supporter of this district. And as directors Orzali and Kelly will probably attest, he couldn't say enough about the Sac Metro Fire District. Jim Vell was another one out there from who's retired for a couple of years, who also helped out. So to all the guys out there at 59 that did the cooking, they provided a great lunch for them, and we provided a bronze plaque that goes on that radio tower with all the directors that are seated here's names, thanking the Van Vleck family for donating that. Literally, it's a lifesaver to our community. So it was a great, great event. League of Cities monthly update call today. and we had a webinar on all the legislation that's going through. You can only imagine this year is a nightmare year in regards to legislation, as well as it's an election year, so stand by to stand by. Either nothing will get done or there'll be some really strange things that probably get accomplished. All we have to do is wait and see. And then upcoming meetings, we have the county chiefs meeting at the airport on the 19th of this month. On the 21st through the 25th, myself, Larry Davis, Rusty Dupre, directors Kelly Jones, President Jones, and Orzali will be going to Cap in Washington, D.C. I would announce that, and I put it in writing, that Deputy Chief Mark Wells will be the fire chief, acting fire chief, in my absence during that. And there will be a contingent from 522 that's going this year for the first time. And this is really to get us back there to do two things. One is to network with our regional partners here to tell our story. But also, we're going to have a unique opportunity, thanks to Larry Davis and his staff. Our simulator project continues to take some turns. We were contacted by Sandia Laboratories, by the Department of Homeland Security, and Washington, D.C., after Mr. Davis put a position paper in on the simulator for us to lobby on Cap to Cap. They all flew out here and met on Tuesday when I was in Ontario with our staff. And so they want us to come back, meet with them at the highest levels at Homeland Security, and also have us go through what's called the NESC, I think, which is the National Emergency Simulation Center in D.C., and they've talked about the potential of us being a hub to that out here. So that's a big deal, and Chief Holbrook and Chief Wells, along with Chief Davis, were in that meeting. So that's a pretty big deal as far as looking for regional partners. So that project continues to expand, and we will be visiting those facilities and those meetings there. Also on the 27th, we have the Point West Rotary Club's Firefighter of the Year recognition. Kind of a tough deal. Tim Beard is going to receive that. Unfortunately, I'll have staff at that because I'll be undergoing a medical procedure that day, which is why I won't be there on the weekend for Rio Linda. But Tim Beard's really undergone some tough medical issues. For you that know, he had an aneurysm, basically. And our staff met. He had it about a month ago. Had gone home. We thought things were going good. And then last week, I think, which day was it? That he went back into on Wednesday, went back into the hospital. Myself and the chiefs all went down there, and I got to take my hat off to Dr. Rossiter. I mean, he was like, as you all know, our guy. Next thing I know, he's got him headed to UC San Francisco. He was there within a matter of 48 hours. They performed surgery, and they were able to go in and fix the problem. But I got to tell you, I don't think that would have happened if it hadn't been for Dr. Rossiter getting personally involved and making sure, because there sure seemed to be a lot of analysis paralysis, and this is the second time that this had happened. He's going to be receiving this, so we hope that he's going to be well enough to be there on the 27th, and we'll keep you posted on that. This is an individual who is the guy that always takes care of everybody else's families when they have something go wrong and one of our brothers or sisters in need and they need meals taken to them and all that. He's the guy that made that happen, and to find himself in this situation, the troops certainly have stepped up, Captain Peck and a whole wide variety of the association people to help it. So our thoughts and prayers are with him. He's finally home and convalescing and continues to improve. Also on the 27th, members of the command staff will be attending the Sac County DA Outstanding Citizen Award at the Board of Supervisors chambers. And on the 28th, as Roger Mitchell said, we've got the Horseless Carriage Club of America fundraiser. Also save the date. Brenda Briggs wants you to know that fire camp this year will be held July 10th through the 13th at Station 21. That's a big issue, and for all the firefighters out there watching that are brand new that we hired over the last year, I'm asking for a list of how many of those are volunteering to be counselors out there for those kids, because we were short on counselors last year, and we want to make sure that we bolster that program so we can get back up to the numbers of kids in our community to go to that. It was like half the amount last year that it has been in the past. New hires, I have none to report. Retirements, March 31st, firefighter Gregory Bullock, 25 years of service. We wish him the best. Promotions, you knew February 10th was Rhonda McFarland, Chief Financial Officer, and April 1st was Tara Mailer, Accounting Specialist. And last but not least, I have a letter here that was delivered to President Jones. Just read it briefly that she wanted entered in the record. It says, Dear Ms. Jones, I am writing to thank some of your staff for their service to our family. I was unable to write sooner because of the emotions involved. On May 28, 2010, our 6-year-old grandson, Dylan Berstrom, was found to have stopped breathing. When his parents called 911 at about 7 a.m., one of your crews speedily arrived at their home at 9200 Carla Way. One of your chaplains, whose name I believe to be Captain Kevin Snyder, heard the call and also arrived to give our family support. Your crew acted quickly to transport Dylan to UCD Medical Center where he was resuscitated. The chaplain stayed behind with us and showed us the way to UCD so my husband and I could drive Dylan's parents there. The captain stayed with us, providing comfort and support until Dylan was admitted to the pediatric ICU. Sadly, our little Dylan passed away the next day on May 29, 2010. While we will always miss our Dylan in this life, we feel grateful for all the help and support your staff gave us that awful day. I want you to know that your department's help began well before May 28, 2010. Our darling Dylan was troubled with seizures at one stage of his short life. I believe that your crew saved his precious life several times when terrible seizures occurred. I feel so grateful to your crews for keeping Dylan with us longer than he would have without their professional skills and compassionate care. Please let your crews and Captain Snyder know how much we appreciate them. So, as the fire chief, and I'm sure on behalf of the board and President Jones giving me this letter, that just goes to show what our crews do every day, and our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers go out to Cherie Falconer, the grandmother, and their family. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Henke. All right. Now, do we have a general counsel's report? Council Lavra?
No report.
No report. Thank you. Now we'll move to, oh, I'm sorry. I jumped again. Welcome to the podium, Chief.
Thank you, President Jones. Member
Operational
of the
report.
I apologize for missing the last board meeting. I did find it necessary to check on the Homeland Security and fire protection issues of the island of Curacao. I am happy to report that things are well. Since our last board meeting that I did miss, there were 3,600 calls relative to EMS within Metro Fire. Of those, Metro Fire transported at a rate of 73%, and our partner AMR transported at a rate of 74%. There were 17 total structure fires since the last board meeting, which was 3 weeks, 21 days since we last met. I have mentioned to you before that when we notice a trend, we act very quickly to mitigate that trend in the interest of public safety. So on the 4th of April? April the 7th, I apologize. We had 2 calls within minutes of each other, literally 10 minutes apart. The first was a fatal fire in a mobile home. The second one was actually where 4 people were transported for carbon monoxide poisoning. So while they're unfortunate and completely unrelated, they have a common theme in a common neighborhood. So Metro Fire, aggressively, actually under the direction of Scott Cochran, has started an outreach. And on the 14th of April, firefighters are going to return to Fairview Estates and hand out smoke detectors with carbon monoxide detectors built in. First Alert had donated 100 of these, and as you're aware, on July 1st of 2011, those were required in every single-family dwelling. While it is a small blip on the screen, that aggressive intervention, we believe, is what truly keeps the community safe. And so hats off to Chief Cochran for undertaking that. The Chief had mentioned Tim Beard, and I just actually want to bring up to you for a moment so you understand the character of the man. So Tim undergoes surgery, literally wakes up from surgery, and the neurosurgeon's in the room with him. This is an individual who is so committed to this district. The first thing that he actually asks is, you have to tell me, can I return to work? He had just undergone neurosurgery. He has a silver dollar-sized hole in the side of his head. The neurosurgeon, of course, looked at him like he's a complete moron. And Tim said, please, no, seriously, you need to tell me, can I go back to work? And the surgeon looks at him and says, Tim, not for probably 4 weeks. And that's the character of the man. He's literally recovering from neurosurgery and can't wait to come back. That's the quality of employee of Tim. And finally, on a sadder note, in homage to the past, I am sorry to report the passing of retired Captain Joe Archer. Joe was a young 65 when he passed away from pancreatic cancer 2 days ago. Little known fact, Joe was a door gunner in Vietnam. Had a very healthy career, was a very aggressive man. Loved by all, always known as Uncle Joe. And unfortunately succumbed to a very short fight, in this case, with pancreatic cancer. So our best wishes to the family of Joe. On a slightly higher note, today we had the honor of actually passing Joe's nephew, Battalion Chief Brian Shannon, in his probation. So congratulations to Brian in that. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief Holbrook. Appreciate your report. All right, we are now at the Sac Metro Fire's Local 522 report. And welcome to the podium, Ty.
Welcome, Ty.
Thank you, Directors. Ty Bailey, Vice President, Local 522. Chief Hinkie, how you guys doing? I know you guys hit on several of the things I was going to speak about tonight. Obviously, Tim was an intern, and I had a chance to intern him working nearby at a different station. Tim revitalized the Helping Others Committee. If you guys aren't familiar with that, he'll give up as much time as he can away from his family to be with others and to consistently be there, and we thank him for that. Aaron Montgomery and Karen Montgomery they set up a website, www.takethemameal.com, and you guys are all welcome to go to that site. You're able to go there, and you'll be able to set up dinners for him and his family. Also, to report, I would like to also let everyone know that Don, and I might get his last name incorrectly, Hockelberg, recently had back surgery and a tumor removed. And our thoughts and prayers also go out to his family. And Brenda Briggs is also going to be setting up transportation for Don to go to UC Davis. So it's good to reach out to those families that are in need. And I want to thank also the command staff, Chief Hinkie, for being involved with Tim and his family, and also Local 522 for assisting with his needs in San Francisco while he was in surgery. Next, I'd like to move on. April 21st, I will be attending the Cap to Cap also. Myself, Pat Cook, and Ryan Henry from the City Fire will be there. And we look forward to seeing you there. I'm sure we will be there at the same time, so I'm sure we'll be at many of the meetings together. I attended a breakfast with Director Kelly, and a special thank you for inviting me there. We received several awards for being part of the Star King Middle School, Local 522, and also our Community Service Division. With that, again, make sure you remember those of your past, the Metro Fire family. There was an extremely large picture of Director Larson as you walked in. And a year ago last month, he passed away. And I just want to say it's good to remember those, the past of our Metro family, because the job that we do day in, day out, it's a very deserving job, but you need to remember those in your past as you move forward. So I appreciate that. I've been meeting with staff, command staff, also moving forward. We've had several meetings concerning OPEB. We discussed the single role paramedic programs that we're moving forward in the future, and we're going to continue to have lots of discussions on these topics. Operationally, We've been also meeting and talking with operations with the budget coming up in May. We're going to be part of that, and we appreciate the offer. We want to continue to discuss the constant staffing levels here at Metro Fire. It's important that we can come to an agreement, and I know we had some great dialogue, and I know that we're going to be able to move forward in all these issues that we've been dealing with day in and day out. So I appreciate it, and that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Could you tell us the Take a Meal website again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's www.takethe, and then it's meal.com. Yeah, take them a meal.
Thank you.
Let me just add one thing. I want to thank you for covering Don Hokelberg. I had him in here and went right past him. He's one of our mechanics, and he is having a struggle of all struggles. So our thoughts and prayers are definitely with him. And I think the other thing, Ty, that I neglected is that Matt Cole was also at the hospital. Many of you know Matt Cole runs the Firefighters Association, integrally part of that. He took his family and a bunch of other families, and they went down when Tim was in the hospital on Easter Sunday, and they actually took Tim's family and kids to Golden Gate Park, held an Easter egg hunt and all that stuff, and so that's the type of brother and sisterhood that's going on there, and I want to make sure I don't forget Matt, because he's one of those guys that when you think about Metro Fire, he's everywhere. So.
Yeah, and also I talked to Matt several times, and there was someone at Tim's bedside 24 hours a day, him, Chuck Lynch, and several others that work in that Battalion 14 area with him for the last 6-7 years. So it's important that that they were noticed, and Matt is home resting along with Tim. So thank you. You guys have any questions?
Are there any other questions?
Good job.
Thank you so much. Moving on to committee and delegate reports. There is nothing to report for the executive committee. Number 2 is Communications Center, JPA. Chief Aaron, welcome to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. The last meeting of the Communications Center was a special meeting that was called just this last Tuesday, April 10th. And a couple action items that were taken care of at that meeting was the interim center manager's contract for Greg Mugertegi was extended through August 31st, and a few other minor changes were made. The terms language substitute center manager was changed to interim center manager. He's going to stay on board until the process of a recruitment process for a center manager is complete. The program manager's contract was completed and approved as well, and the center manager job description was discussed with a few minor changes with direction to go back to legal counsel to fix a few things. And then the board approved the moving forward of a center manager recruitment process, which shouldn't take too long, where we can get a center manager hired for the dispatch center. If you have any questions, I'll entertain those at this time.
Questions? Okay, thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Okay, item number 3, we have California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA, Director Kelly.
The JPA has not met since I last reported out. We will be meeting next Wednesday, the 18th, at Calima's building in their media room. I will not be able to attend that meeting, but I have confirmed with Dr. Gould that he will be there in my absence.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Director Monk.
Finance Committee met this afternoon, and just a couple highlights out of it. The taxes still don't look good. They're still down 4.5%. And the good part, or the glowing, is due to the efforts of the board, and specifically the EMS division and the chief, is the medic fees are up 26%. So that's shows that the moves that the board and the chief and the EMS division made are paying off. They are in the right direction and are validated. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 14th. The May 10th was canceled due to the other board obligations that day. That's it.
All right, thank you. Policy Committee, Director Ozali.
The Policy Committee will next meet on April 26th at 5 p.m., and I would note that I will not be present for that meeting.
Sir, we'll move on to board member questions and comments. Director Clark, may I start with you, please?
I just want to thank everyone for their reports, and I'd also like to keep all of the people that are recovering or from illnesses and whatnot, to keep them in our prayers. That's all I have.
Director Newcomer?
I want to thank Public Education Technician Briggs and Engineer Werner for their presentation to Roseville Fire Department last Wednesday night. I attended them at the City Council meeting just to give them some support. We were very well received. Roseville Fire is going to reinitiate their fire camp starting this year, so that's a good thing. I want to extend some get well wishes to retired Captain Rick Morrison, who underwent heart surgery this last week, but I understand that he's doing well. And then last but not least, I'd like to ask the President of the Board if we could have a moment of silence for Captain Archer at the conclusion of the meeting tonight, and that's all I've got.
Thank you very much, Director Newcomer. Director Scheidegger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention one thing in addition that came out of the Finance Committee, and that is a couple of months ago we received our auditor's report, which included 17 recommendations for this department to tighten our fiscal control. And Rhonda McFarland gave a report tonight on the status of that, and I'm very impressed. I want to express my thanks to her and her staff for the inroads they've made in terms of, I believe we've accomplished or completed four, and 10 are underway. And that's just having been advised of this a couple of months ago. Again, we are a business amongst other things, and it's critical that we have these procedures in place to ensure that we're operating our business at maximum effectiveness. And I want to thank you for doing what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Director Rosali?
I'd like to add just two things. One, this week I met with the board clerk and with representatives of the IT section. We are moving forward on going to a paperless delivery of the board agenda item, which I was really pleased to see how enthusiastically that was being received. I also wanted to commend the chief on the presentation that he made to the Van Vleck family, and that's an important component working with the community, particularly the kind of leadership that the Van Vlecks represent. So thank you, Chief.
Director Monk?
A couple things. I wanted to offer condolences to the Archer family and to retired engineer Dick Shannon and Brian Shannon, battalion chief, on the passing of Joe Archer. Want to offer best wishes, speedy recovery to Tim, and he's been going through a lot. Don Huckelberg, Rick Morrison, all of these. It shows, again, the fire service is a family and that we can rely on our people to step up in times of need. I'd like to recommend, as time permits, for each of the board members to make contact with these people and personally. The personal touch with the families and everything shows that support, and it means a lot. Congratulations to Fred Bino and Shay for the Fleet Mechanics Academy. It is well-renowned as a very good academy, and they do a very good job in putting it together. And special thanks for Dr. Rossiter. In those times of needs, to have an expert in his qualifications step forward to offer to help us gives you that feeling that we've got the best people, and we've got the best people coming to our aid. So it puts us in a very comforting position through whatever times we have to go through. But there again, we are a family, and we need to take care of our own, and we appreciate the help that we get in doing it. And finally, stepping outside of the fire department, but still with the public safety area, I wanted to offer condolences to the Modesto Police Department officer that lost his life today, just doing his job. And public safety, we are still an extended family, but it's hard whenever that happens to any of us. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Director. Director Gould?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I can't recall a board meeting where our hearts have been so heavy. It's been a long time since we've had this kind of impact and these announcements. And I can tell you from personal experience only 2 years ago that Captain Snyder's face around your family is one of the most healing things you can go through. The story that was read tonight, I've lived that nightmare. And when you see a Metro uniform standing at your parents' door only a couple of hours after your tragedy, it blows your mind. And still today is the most powerful thing in my family's healing from a very similar tragedy. It is unbelievable. And I will always remember it as long as I live. So will my family. But our hearts are heavy, and yet we'll survive it. I'm living proof of that. We can survive these kinds of things, and we will. That's what a family does. On a happier note, I'm going to give my annual shout out to Fire Camp and plead with this community to dig down into your pockets and find that $100 that you can give to a small child that can't afford it, and come to Fire Camp and realize the future that they may have in such a wonderful family. They may come from a family that doesn't have a future, but coming to Fire Camp may turn that whole idea around for them, and they be the next Tim Beard. He was a student of mine, and everything that's been said about him tonight, absolutely dialed in. Absolutely. A stellar student, a stellar father, and a stellar human being, just like everybody else in this room. That's why you're here. So our hearts are heavy. We'll move on. Our hearts will remember these folks and pray for them. I know it helped us. And I know it will help all of those that are suffering tonight. But it's awesome to be here, even though it's heavy. It's really awesome to be here. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Director Kelly?
I attended the luncheon yesterday with Mr. Van Vleck, and I've known him for about a year, and I've seen him do some wonderful things just to help some other people out. And I thought that it was great that we were able to present a cake to the chief on his birthday. I think that's the responsibility of our pub ed tech. And how many stores did you have to go to get that many candles?
Nice, nice.
Anyhow, but I also came in today on the tail end of the Finance Committee, and what Mr. Scheidegger said is absolutely true. It is wonderful to sit in the back room and see a professional, a true professional, stand before this board and give them reports on the finances, tell them how we are putting procedures into writing and making the finances of this board something that anybody that picks up the document can rely on the information in the document being accurate. So I gave them all high fives when I came in because, you know, that's what you do with high-performing athletes. The United Way breakfast was a good breakfast. I thank Local 522 for attending, and certainly a picture of Director Lawson was there, and it's been a year, and Director Lawson was a good friend to all the firefighters, the employees of Metro Fire, and certainly a good friend of myself. And I would like to commend the staff for working with the it's a mobile home park on the smoke detectors and the CO2 detectors. You know, the ability to save lives through some education and providing a small device that gets screwed to a wall and a battery. It's amazing, and I appreciate those efforts of this district. And condolences to Mr. Archer's family. prayers to both him and Mr. Beard's families, and we hope that those folks are able to see recovery in Mr. Beard and see him return to work again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Director Kelly, and thank you to each and every director for all your very heartfelt comments tonight. I'm going to forego my comments, and if you would all stand and rise, we'll join each other with a moment of silence for Captain Joe Archer. Thank you. This meeting's adjourned.